Welcome back. It's Chem 110B, Chapter 9, Molarity of Ions in Solution. This is a technique that you're going to use so much in this class and in Chem 115 and in Chem 116 and as you move forward, so it's good to be good at it. This is found on page 147 and 148, exercises 9E and 9F. The things to remember here are what molarity means. Capital M is the same as moles per 1 liter. And this is the stuff that is found in Chapter 5. So be ready if you need to look back in your book or at the old videos. And second, you have to be able to really good at identifying the ions in any ionic compound, splitting an ionic compound up into its individual cations and individual anions. That stuff's from Chapter 3. We are combining Chapter 5 and Chapter 3 here into simple problems so that we can then move forward with them on a little bit more involved problems. Alright, so we've got 2 example problems for you to look at. There they are. You can hit pause, try to do the work, show all your calculations with conversion factors, sig figs, units, the works. See if you come up with the same answer as me. Okay, so hit pause and then we'll come back. Pause. You've now unpaused. You really did it, didn't you? Or are you just sitting there watching? Guys, if you don't actually try to do this stuff with pencil and paper and calculator, you are sort of wasting your time, because just reading about or watching somebody put together an engine or ride a unicycle doesn't mean that you'll know how to do it on your own. Come on now. Let's hit pause again and actually do the work, alright? Pause. I'm not kidding. Alright, you're back and you actually paused. You actually tried it. Lord, I hope so. Alright, so here we go. First question. What are the ion concentrations in a 3.10 molar solution of iron sulfate? That's a 2. Iron sulfate. Okay. Well, your first job is to know what that is. When you see that, I need you to be thinking 2 Fe things and 3 SO4 things. Iron is a transition metal. It's in the middle and you can't tell what the charge is, but you better know from your knowledge of the solubility rules that sulfate is a -2. If there are 3 sulfates here, that's what the 3 means, and 2 irons here, that's what the 2 means. That's a total of -6. So if this is a total of +6, that means each of these have to be a +3. Okay. When you see this, you need to see this both with charges and the numbers of each. That's the way you're going to be able to do these problems quickly. Okay, so 3.10 molar means the same as 3.10 moles per liter, but that's not enough. It's not just moles, it's moles of iron sulfate. The iron 3 sulfate, actually. Okay, well, they don't want to know what the iron 3 sulfate solution is. Concentration, that's that. They want to know what the iron concentration is and what the sulfate ion concentrations are. So, you need a ratio within the molecule between the ions and the compound. It's sort of like eyeballs per head and noses per head, or ears per head, or hairs per head. You have to look at that ratio. Let's do iron first. There are 2 moles of iron plus 3 per every 1 mole of the compound itself. Does that make sense to everybody? There's 2 of these per every 1 of those. Alright, so moles of the compound cancel out. We're left with moles of iron plus 3 per 1 liter here, which is the iron concentration, and it's double, 6.20 moles per liter. Okay? That's for the concentration of iron. let's look at the concentration of sulfate. Same initial concentration of the compound, moles per 1 liter of the iron sulfate, but this time the ratio is going to be 3 to 1 because there are 3 sulfates for every 1 formula unit of iron sulfate. 3 moles of sulfate ion, 1 mole of the iron 3 sulfate. The formula units cancel out and you're left with 9.30 molar sulfate ion. And remember, these are 3 sig figs, but these ratios are an infinite number of sig figs, which is why the answer has 3. Don't forget about your sig figs. Just because we moved on to Chem 110B, that's just as important. Okay, good so far. Now let's do the second problem. The second problem is very similar, and it's also very similar to problem number 6 on your Chem 110A final exam. Remember, every time you have moles per liter and you multiply by volume in liters, that gives you moles. And that's what we're going to be doing over and over again. Okay. This is the first step. This is the second step. We have 2 numbers in the problem this time. If we start with 0.08 moles of the ammonium phosphate per 1 liter, let's find the concentration of the ammonium ion. Remember, if you're seeing this stuff, ammonium phosphate, you better be thinking an NH4, an NH4, an NH4, and a PO4. And you'd better know what those charges on those polyatomic ions are. You'd better know that ammonia is a +1. Hey, they even tell you what that is. And that NH +1s are the cations. There's 3 of them. And so there's 1 phosphate ion. That's the anion. This is important. If you're not so good at this, that's what Chapter 3 is all about. Okay, so moles of ammonium phosphate per 1 liter. The ratio is 3 to 1 of ammonium ions per 1 mole of the ammonium phosphate. Good. That's moles of ammonium ion per liter, but I don't care about that answer because we don't have 1 liter, we have 13 milliliters, which, as you remember from your metric to metric conversions, what do we have left here? The milliliters cancel, the liters cancel, and we're left with exactly what we want. Moles of ammonium ion, moles of ammonium ion. That's the only unit that's left. How many sig figs are in my answer? Well, how many is here? Come on, guys, that's only 1 sig fig. This is an infinite number of sig figs because it's the ratio. That's 2. And this is infinite because it's a metric to metric. So there's only 1 sig fig in my answer. So let's punch that in and see what that gets you. 0.08 times 3 times 13 divided by 1,000 equals 0.003 moles. That's it, or 3 times 10 to the -3rd moles of ammonium. That's it, guys. These are the building blocks that you are going to use to do all the problems for the rest of the chapter, so you got to be good at these first. Practice up. 9E and 9F. Good luck.